okay, part two to the actual, like, you should throw away your phone or whatever. I think I'm gonna call this one the actual title, right? Throw away your phone. And then the previous, which is part one, I'm gonna just call it something else, right? That way there isn't too much confusion. But yeah, there's so much to talk about here. It's crazy. Okay, so I was briefly talking about in part one how you use your phone for way too much stuff, and that's actually not a good thing compared to using your phone for only like 1 to 2 things. Like, you associate it to 1 to 2 things. For example, you associate your phone to like you're managing your finances, for example, or just being productive, right? The feeling or whatever, being productive, compared to like feeling productive, feeling unproductive, managing your finances, talking to other people, and just like one phone, right? So essentially, something I was briefly mentioning was using the secure folder, which I think is in most modern phones. I don't think Apple. I'm not sure if you have like an Apple phone. I'm not exactly sure what the procedure would be. It's probably like some application or something you could download that essentially works the same way. I'm pretty sure on the App Store and stuff you could download that. So this would be like a step down from actually like uninstalling everything and just go in monk mode, because like that's not. I don't think that's sustainable for a lot of people, especially if like you've been hooked on like unproductive things for like a whole bunch of time. I don't think that's sustainable for a lot of people. So this is like a step down, which isn't. It's like you aren't actually. I'm not sure exactly how I would explain this. You're not exactly like going full monk mode, right? But at the same time, you get like some of the effects from going like monk mode, right? Because like not being able to see those applications, or at least like separating like users, separating like different parts of your phone. So like you have to enter like a whole different passcode. Because like the passcode would be like you entering the passcode to enter like the unproductive section of your phone. It's essentially just, at least that's how I understand it. It's essentially just telling your brain that now you're being unproductive, right? Instead of turning on your phone and your brain's like thinking 20 different things on being productive, unproductive, I'm talking to, you know what I'm saying? So like separating that is actually would be a good thing for your brain, because it's like overall less clutter, I feel, right? Bro, I'm not linking no studies. I'm not linking no research. This is bro science, okay? We want bro science here. So, because like at least I can vouch for it, right? I can vouch for it at least. And from the from the bro science posts I've seen, people actually do that. They use like different users for their work. So at the moment they enter like the passcode or whatever, the brain knows like what time is it, what time, if it's time to be productive, it's time to be unproductive, whatever, right? And it helps. So essentially something I've been doing is previously this was like a couple of days I started doing it because I had the idea to use that, right? But it was essentially using. So I had 2 users on my computer previously, and I'm using the second one. I stopped using the second one, which was a productive, right? Which should be the default. But I stopped using it, and I'm using it again for like anything that has to do with Notion, and overall leaving it like that up until I feel the need to switch, right? So what I've been doing is my phone so I've done the separation, like the association separation on my phone by taking the phone and like putting it in a hard to reach area, right? Because there's like a certain part. This is what I was getting into at the end of part 1, and it was essentially that to turn some things invisible, like turn some bad habits invisible, you have to make it hard to actually it's not just invisible. Like you don't just make it invisible, you have to make it like hard to actually reach. So like for example, I took the phone, put it in like a case, put it in like a container case, and then put that into a backpack, and threw the backpack. I threw the backpack. Just yeeted the backpack over to like a hard to reach area. Alright? That way, because like something, this also ties into something else that I read recently, which was that your brain wants to do the things, it's like the thing that takes the least amount of effort, right? Unless you're already in a state where you're doing things that require effort. This also applies like personal experience, because that's how it's been for me. Because if I'm in a state of just doing like these fucking advertising, bro. If I'm in a state already of doing a whole bunch of productive things, the moment I stop doing those productive things and I switch to something unproductive, my mind just switches and it only wants to do unproductive, and it's like harder to actually get into the productive stuff. So that's like an interesting thing here. But your brain wants to do like the unproductive things, or the unproductive stuff, because that's like the things that require least effort compared to like the productive stuff. Because like scrolling on Twitter or whatever is infinitely more easier than actually heading out and going to the gym, for example, or like working out at home or something, right? So it's infinitely more easier to scroll on Twitter. So yeah, I wanted to, this was interesting to tie in, because if you just do something like add a passcode, for example, to Twitter, you're not actually, at least if you're anything like me, right? If you've seen the previous uploads and you relate to some of the things I've done, which is a bit early to say, like if you relate, but hopefully you're something like me, because then this advice would actually mean something. Like adding a passcode to Twitter is not going to actually do anything for you. It's not. Like adding a passcode, because you know the passcode. If it's you that is auto-regulating yourself and all you're doing is just adding a passcode, you know what the passcode is. So all you have to do is just click on it and putting the passcode, and that's it. The moment you succumb, right, to actually clicking on it and you enter the passcode and you do it multiple times, that's it. There's no like, you've defeated the whole purpose. So that's what I'm saying. First, right, at least this is how I'm doing it. First, I'm disassociating it, right? Disassociating things that have like multiple things attached to it, right? So for example, your bed, if you use your bed for studying, if you use your bed for sleeping, if you use your bed for this and that, try doing those things in separate locations as well. It might be a bit of a hassle because you're used to it, but overall it's better. You might end up sleeping better. If you sleep terribly and you do a whole bunch of things on your bed, try doing those things outside of your bed, and maybe you'll sleep better. Maybe. Might work. So we're 8 minutes in. Okay, but I'm almost wrapped up. So essentially, you want to make it actually hard to get those things. For example, my phone, I would have to go over a whole bunch of boxes and stuff, which it's just very uncomfortable. It's not like the most comfortable thing. It's not like having your phone like in a drawer or somewhere. That doesn't do anything. You just open the drawer and there's your phone. Imagine this is the phone. You just open the drawer and there's your phone or whatever. That doesn't do anything for you. You have to make it actually uncomfortable. You have to make it so your brain would think that's the hard thing to do. It's like, since your brain wants to do the things that require least effort, you make not getting your phone, or I'm using the getting your phone example because that's what I'm using. You make not getting your phone the actual thing that requires the least amount of effort, so you don't actually go for it. And it's very important to not break it, right? To not actually like. It's harder to be tempted to actually get the phone, but it's very important to like try to be conscious and be like, nah, I'm like, if you are tempted to get the phone, try to be conscious and understand that the moment you get it, okay, whatever, one time, right? 2 times or 3 times, and it's already like it's snowballing. Like it's essentially snowballing. One time it's like tiny balls, like a tiny snowball, and then the more times you do it, the bigger the snowball, and then essentially like you fucked it up already, and you have to start at square one. So it's actually interesting because now I've added it to, before it was like I woke up and my phone was already there on the desk because I didn't like, it was during the morning that I like threw it away or whatever. But during yesterday I actually did it during the night, like before I went to sleep, as part of like a nighttime routine. I was like organizing my room, and I was like, let me try and see if I can like throw this away. And I was like, whoa, like my like I understood what the effects it would have on me the moment I thought of the idea. I was like, wait, if I do it the night before, then in the morning I won't have my phone. That's actually what happened today. I woke up, did not have my phone, and it's still thrown away. It's like it's out of there. I won't see that until later in the day. I will not see that until later in the day. That means I've not checked WhatsApp. I've not checked Discord. I've not checked. No, that's honestly the two things I've used. YouTube. I've not checked YouTube. I've checked. No, that's cap. I've checked YouTube, but it's related to the things I'm doing. So like obviously I have to look up the meditation, which is a bit, now that I think about it, it's a bit weird because I have the meditation downloaded, but I'm not used to actually doing the downloaded meditation, so that's whatever. But like, for example, for this, since I listen to Hamza while I stretch, and while I'm also doing these. So like, for example, there obviously I am using YouTube, but it's not distracting me. It's not like the usual use that I give it, which is for distraction. So that's essentially the whole idea. Like, throw away your phone, just like try to disassociate some of the associations you have with like things like phone, your computer, your bed, whatever. Try to take like a look at what you actually do on those things, and like try to separate them. Try to separate them. For example, if you use it to call people, and that's how you usually like interact with people. If you interact with a certain person that's like near your area, just go up to their door or whatever and just knock or something. But yeah, part 2, that was essentially, I need to talk a whole bunch. It's like a big topic. I didn't talk about the whole thing in depth, but I basically covered everything I wanted to cover. So yeah, I'm gonna upload both of these today, because I don't want to like have the recap. I obviously want to have the recap, but I want the recap to be during that same day. I don't want it to be like recapping. So the recap for the 25th, for example, going on the 26th. I don't like that. I want the recap of the 26th to be on the 26th and stuff like that. And if I have to do like more in depth like this, I'll just do a part 2 or whatever. But yeah, peace.